As we close the final chapter of Red Dead Redemption 2's main game, we open up into the epilogue, where we take control of John Marston as he lives and works alongside his family on Pronghorn Ranch in West Elizabeth. A lot of players may believe that there's not much more to this part 1 other than the missions it entails, but in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some things that you may have potentially missed. As always, if you enjoy what you see, you all know what to do, and if you're new here and aren't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. You're listening to Phil of Philby Gaming, and with that being said, let's get into today's video. To start things off, there's a special piece of clothing item that you only have a small window of opportunity to obtain. After completing the Simple Pleasures mission at Pronghorn Ranch, John will leave his home wearing a white gambler's hat. For whatever reason, this hat is never seen again once you complete this mission. It's not even stored in John's wardrobe or inventory, but luckily there is a way to retain it. If you leave the ranch briefly before beginning the next mission, you're going to have to find an NPC to brawl with and get the hat knocked off. When it lands on the floor, it begins to flash white, indicating that it's a special collectible. Once you retrieve it, it's then stored in your wardrobe permanently. And don't worry, if you can't get an NPC to knock it off, you could always get a horse to kick you. Speaking of leaving the ranch, if you decide to take a bit of a prolonged trip away from Pronghorn, there are secret cutscenes that can trigger upon your return. There's one with Abe, a couple with Abigail, and one with Mr. Geddes, the ranch owner, where John will mention Arthur.
So, you're back, Jim. We were worried.
I'm so sorry, sir. I have some old business concerns, and sometimes they can be a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A dear friend of mine passed away some years back, and I keep getting caught up in his old business.
Oh, the past is a bastard. I've spent my whole life running from it. And that's why we ended up here. Women trouble, you know.
I can imagine.
If only human beings were different, life would make some kind of sense. Excuse me. I had to write that down.
Mr. Geddes lives with his wife and children in the main house on the ranch, which unfortunately is normally inaccessible to John. On a quick side note here, whereas John would normally try to bash a locked door down, on the ranch, trying to maintain his cover, he will politely knock instead, but that's not what I wanted to show you. If you somehow manage to gain access to the property, whether it be through glitches or mods, you will discover that most of the downstairs interior has been filled, possibly meaning that it may have been included in a cut mission. Inside, John is able to sit down on a few of the chairs, search some of the drawers and a jewellery box, although the contents are empty, and listen in to Mrs. Geddes talking to one of her children about her husband's trips into Strawberry, while somebody is playing the piano.
Hey, have you seen your father?
No, Ma. He's gone into town again.
Of course he has. Of course he has.
Can I help with anything, Ma?
No, nothing at all. Always in town.
Whilst we're on interiors, there's a few that for whatever reason Rockstar didn't include much of. Firstly, we have the inaccessible outhouse next to John's home, which strangely doesn't actually contain anything. On the opposite side, we have a larger building which you can't access neither, but you can see a little through the windows. If using whatever method necessary to gain access, similar to the Geddes home, you will discover that this is a bunkhouse used to home the other ranch hands. There are just 5 bunks in total, each one a copy and paste of the other. For some reason, they all have blood on them, but I'm putting that down to nothing more than reused assets. The following is a small one, and more likely an oversight by Rockstar Games themselves. At the entrance to Pronghorn Ranch, the head sign that introduces the place states that the owner is named Michael Geddes. We are introduced to Mr. Geddes as David, so David could either be his middle name or, as I said, possibly just an oversight by Rockstar. Next, some may not have realised that there are several places John can sit down at Pronghorn Ranch. We of course have the chairs at the dining table in a family's bunkhouse, but what you may have missed are the other locations around the ranch that you can sit, relax and watch the ranch go by if you wish to do so. One of these is a log right outside of John's residence, and the other is outside of the rancher's bunkhouse next door. There are a few other things that players may not have noticed, such as if Jack gets bucked off his horse during a mission, he will learn his lesson and know his limits next time, the popular famous John pose from the Red Dead Redemption 1 art cover, or even the fact that Jack can be seen reading one of the storybooks that his Uncle Arthur gave him all the way back in Chapter 2. But these are things I've covered previously in other videos, and I'm trying to avoid rehashing old content. As always, if you guys enjoy what you saw, you all know what to do, and if you're new here and this is the first video of mine you've seen, please consider subscribing. Do you know of anything at Pronghorn Ranch that you believe some may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you wish to get in touch, you'll find any and all social medias you may need in the video description. Also, for just £2.99 per month, you can become a full member of the channel, where you'll get perks such as early video access, priority comment replies, and much more. Thank you all for watching. You've been listening to Phil of Phil Be Gaming, and I'll see you in the next video.